Right, so let's jump into this very quick live demo of Reality Cloud Studio. So here we are at hxdr.app, and here we have the content store on the left hand side, but what we're interested in, of course, is Reality Cloud Studio powered by HXDR. So you can see all of our recent projects here, but I'm going to jump in so we can start looking at the projects within the application. Okay, so the projects are now loaded. So I can see everything where I am associated with that project, either as an owner or I've been added as maybe an editor. But this is the project that I'm interested in here, which is Reality Cloud Studio. This is our primary demo account. Okay, so there's lots of information in here that we can look at. So the first thing, if I click on my name down here, we can look at the company information, users, any subscriptions and orders. We can obviously manage the profile as well. So that's all bog standard stuff you might expect from an online solution. We can very easily switch to this list layout view and back to the grid layout. We can add additional folders. So all of these are created by myself. We can change, we can click labels. So if we've added labels to a project, we can search, and then we can sort by creation date, name, asset size, everything, the normal things you would expect. You can even search for a project by name up here. Of course, you can also go to project members, so you can see everyone who is associated with the project, so with the various levels, whether they are a viewer, an editor, a maintainer, a collaborator, all these different levels that we have within the platform. You can easily see them in here. And you can also go to project details, where you can see information about the project. We've got this nice collaborative space here. We can also go into the project settings, so we can change all the information, we can add any labels, we can change the cover image, and also we can basically swap the project owner as well if we want to from that location. So we go back to the assets. Uploading, I'm not going to really show you. We've discussed that within the webinar. You can send directly from the field to the cloud. So just log into with your credentials directly from the field apps and send the data, or you can drag and drop data directly in here from your desktop. So whether it's an E57 or an LGS or an OBJ or IFC file, you can drag and drop it and it will process the data for you. What we are going to quickly look at is registration. We showed this in the video, so there's one I did earlier there, but if I click into this Leve folder, there's a few scans in here. So there's a couple where people have already done the registrations, but if I click these 4 B2G scans, so these have come from the Leica BLK to go, and I click auto register up here or auto register down there. I'm going to click it and it will then show the list of the scans, and we can give it a name, and we can then click auto register, and that will just process in the background. Now we can do up to 20 B2G scans. You should be aiming for about 30% overlap between your B2G scans. You can also do E57 files from the all new BLK 360 and the RTC, anything where there's associated viz data as well. And at the minute, that's an upper limit of about 75 scans with the capability to do more over time. We can do more, but we're just trying to be conservative right now. And all you do is just hit auto register and off you go. So that's where you can see there's Marcus and Eduardo data sets there. But if I just click back to this folder, there's one that says, here's one I did earlier. And I can now see that data loading. So that is a meshed asset. So that is 4 B2G scans from the BLK to go that have been loaded. Now what I also want to show you here, and I think we highlighted this in the webinar, is if I show you the point cloud, you can actually see a lot of the noise. So you can see all the noise in the data set. And you can see all these people loitering around here listening to some music on this stage. But as soon as we turn on the mesh results, if I click back to the mesh results, you can see that all of those people have gone. So as part of the meshing step, we actually do cleaning to remove those outliers and give us a nice final result. So now we're going to go back to our assets page again. We're going to go into our meshing folder. And within the meshing folder, I'm just going to show you. So if I click here, you see it says generate mesh. If it doesn't say generate mesh, then there's already a mesh for the asset. But what I can do is I can click that button, I can choose the device that was used from the list. So in this instance, an RTC 360, I click mesh, and that will go off and process the data. I think this one as well, if we click generate mesh, again, I could say BLK to go and generate the mesh directly from there. So that gives us some nice control over that. And as I said, we perform the cleaning step as part of that processing. So what we're going to do now is jump into our RTC360 folder, and there's an asset in here that I want to look at together. Okay, so you can see there's lots of different assets in here. Of course, it's standard file format file tool, so I can click here and I can move it, copy it, rename, delete, share it directly from here. I can export the various parts of it as well directly from any of these three buttons. But I can click in any one of these assets now and view it. So I'm going to go into this World War I museum. So this was collected with the RTC360. We uploaded this in May as we were preparing for Hexagon Live, and you can see the file size. So if we just click on this asset, and that will jump us straight into the project. So now we're in the asset. I'm just going to jump through and talk about some of the menu bars around here and what everything does. The first thing I wanted to show is the asset details here on the left hand side, so you can see the project, what it was collected with, when it was uploaded, the various artifacts that have been generated, so point cloud, mesh, panoramas, and any labels that are associated with that project. You can, of course, if you want to, change this cover image. That's the thumbnail that we see throughout the project, and we can retake that if we want to. This is very important across the top. We've got quick mode, so we can change the viewing status very, very quickly. I'm currently using this vivid mode, so we've got the nice skybox in the background. And then really, really importantly, we've got our sharing options right here. So we can click share, we can share that to within other members within the team, or we can set a general access link. So this is for anyone can view this asset. And if I click copy link, I can of course now just click across to another tab, and you will now, this is the public link, so you can see hxdr.app shared asset. So this is now a link that anyone can access. You can see we've got any limit boxes or anything that's been created are all accessible within that public link that we have shared. So that is the sharing capability, which is really, really cool. We can turn that off. So at any point in time, we can kill that access, that general access link, and we can flip the switch and turn it back on again if we want to. But there you go, that's how we would share our asset. Of course, you can switch to the point cloud. I've got the mesh displayed for this particular asset. We've got Doll's House mesh view if you want to, you've got a multi-level building. You can see at the minute when I'm hovering around, we've got these spheres which are representative of all the pano image locations. We can, if we want to, just turn those off. So now when I'm moving around, you don't see them. We've also got a comparison mode that allows you to turn the point cloud and the mesh on at the same time, which is quite nice. So yeah, at any point in time, I can click into those. We'll do that in a second, and we'll show you the different viewing modes. Across here, we've got the visualization settings, so you can change everything from the color. You can change to predefined settings, so highlight, white. We can change all this in real time. In terms of the point cloud, we can change those settings. We've got this nice outline mode, which gives a little sort of shell shaded effect, and we can tweak all these settings as well to give everything a little bit more depth if we wanted to. I tend to use it in no outline. Background, of course, we've got bog standard backgrounds, plain backgrounds, unicolor. We can show the grid lines or not. We've also got what we call background blur, so you can see that in operation now. You've got everything in the background with this nice depth of field, and we can change that. We can turn it off, or we can have automatic or manual. The quality, I've got this set to ultra, so this is loading in as much data as possible. You can also change the max point count. You can also change the memory settings. So I'm currently using 3% of the GPU, and then you can change your cursor. So one that I do really like is this see-through. So if you hover on the see-through, and now I'm just moving around, you can actually see directly through the mesh. So that's really nice on a multi-level building, but we'll stick to the default settings for now. Now, of course, you've got your asset, you've got your mesh that you've created. You have got your point cloud. You can click this export button here. You can download the original file, or you can download the point cloud, the mesh that's been created, or the panoramic images all directly from here if you want to. You can see that exporting consumes your monthly subscription download quota, so that's something useful to remember. Now, of course, we've got built-in feedback as well. So if we click the feedback button, you can see whether it was good. You can say whether it was good or bad, and that will come directly to the developers. You can feedback, if there's a feature request that you would like, you can do that directly from within the platform. That's really, really useful. Of course, you can switch between 2D and 3D modes nice and easily. You can reset the project, so if we found ourselves in a funny position under the data set, we just hit the reset button. We go back to the original location for the project. We're in currently this orbit mode, so we just left click, we're moving around. If someone is new to the platform, if they just click the help button, you can see it tells you everything you need to know. But one really nice feature is the ability to go into this fly mode. So if I right click anywhere, it'll now take me to that location. And of course I can now just use the keys. So if you're used to PC gaming, you can just move around using the directional keys and your mouse button, and you can hold down the shift key if you want to look a little bit faster. So you're in this nice first person mode. And just remember, this is all happening directly within the browser. Of course, we've then got panorama mode. So if I click panorama, that will now jump to the nearest set of photography, and that will load that in and stream that in. And you can see, as I'm moving around, the other panoramas which we can jump to. So if I just click here, that'll take us to the next nearest panorama, really nice and smooth, and we can navigate and view that data. And at any point in time, if we press escape, we go back into the mesh view, and there we are, we're back into the navigation tools. So that is the very, very simple basics of the navigation. So let's have a look at these tools down the left hand side now. Firstly, we've got limit boxes, then measurements, geotags, tours, and we've already looked at the asset details. But if we click on limit boxes, you can see there's various limit boxes which we've already defined. So I can just click on one of these and it will take us to that area that we've created. So that's a nice little navigation feature. Now at any point in time as well, we can go and we can edit this. We can copy the link directly to this as well, so we can share that, or we can delete it from here if we wanted to. Now if I click display without limit box, we go back to the full asset again. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to create one though. So I just say add limit box. So you can see there's my limit box. I can grab the sides if I wanted to rotate these. I'm just going to grab here, so you can see I can rotate the box. I can grab the handles on the top or the bottom. Very, very easily just move this and make a smaller area if I want to. We can also tweak all these settings down here, so you can change the rotation and all of these settings by just moving the bars at the bottom here. And of course, when we're ready, we just hit save. We give it a new name, description if we want to, and that's saved within the list. But yeah, of course, there's all our other limit boxes if we want to. And as I said, we can easily share those. So let's just close that down. Now the next up is measurements. So if we go to measurements, again you can see all of the measurements that have been created. So I can just go in and click on any one of these and it will zoom to that area, so we can actually see what someone has put in place. So you can see them all there, and I can actually show these all, or I can hide these all. But if I say show all, if I move around, you can then see, and I can hover over any of these and I can actually see the information associated with them. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how to create another measurement. I'm going to hide all these. I'm going to say add measurement. You've got distance, area, and planar area. So distance is as it says, 2 points. Area, you just click a few points to create your area. Planar actually allows you to create a plane and project onto that. So we're going to show you that method. So you just click 3 points and there's my plane. Okay, and now when I click my points, they are going to project down onto the surface. I'm just going to double click. I can put in a name there, but you've got the surface and you've got the perimeter being created directly using that method. So that's a nice way to create measurements. But yeah, we're going to keep those hidden for the time being because we're going to show you how to create some tours in a second. So we also have geotags. So geotags in exactly the same way. Every single one you can click on and it will take you to. So there's information, who it was created by. We can even hide these, we can edit them, we can also copy the link directly to it. So again, as we did before, if we copy the link and we just ping that into here again, this will take us directly to that geotag within the asset automatically. Okay, so if you wanted to share a specific part and a specific location of the data to someone, you can do that there. Of course, we can show all of these and then they become hotspots. So we can just click on these and we can get information about them by just clicking on those hotspots. So that's really nice and simple. In order to create one, we just say add geotag. You can see there we can now just put the marker anywhere we want to. So we could put it on this sign, for example, add the details, we get the nice little thumbnail and save it and off we go. So that is the geotag. We'll of course embellish and add more information around geotags in future releases, but I think it's a really nice workflow for the time being. And this is my favorite feature really in Reality Cloud Studio so far, and that is tours. So if we go to tours, you can see various tours that have already been created. So you can see, as I'm moving across, you can see all these blue lines appearing. So I'm going to click on this long fly through here, the 60-second one, and you can see If I now just press play, you can see this is a tool that I've already created, and it is just a matter of choosing your camera head locations. You select to create a camera point, you choose your duration, you've got various smoothing tools, but we can do this directly within Reality Cloud Studio. And the other thing we can do is, of course, render this out as a really nice high resolution final product as well. So if we click record video, you can now choose your video quality, so I always typically use best. You then just hit the record button and it generates the MP4 file directly within the browser. There are some other ways of creating the tours though. So if I go back into the tours and say add a tour, you can see we've got these various settings. So for example, I could say, okay, well, I really want this flyover option. So it automatically then creates a flyover of that asset, and you can render that out. So you haven't had to do anything, that's just done that completely automatically. If we just cancel that and we go back into my original tour, now what I can do here, if I say edit tour path, I can now go in and I can go to any individual camera location along here. So I could click on 12, for example, and I can now tweak that camera location. If I move out, I can actually click on the camera and I can rotate it. So if I click here, you can actually move it, rotate it. You can even delete that camera location within the tour if you wanted to. But I'm just going to press cancel. Of course, you can change all the smoothing. You can also change the tour information. But that is tours, and you can get some really nice outputs from that directly. And I think we showed you that at the beginning. Some of the outputs we showed you at the beginning of the webinar session earlier on. So that is my whistle-stop tour of Reality Cloud Studio. Now remember that data hosted here can of course be streamed into Cyclone 3DR as well. So we're currently only streaming the point cloud, but that does mean that you can then carry out all the operations within 3DR that you might want to: deviation reports, clash analysis, progress BIM reporting, all of those things that you might ordinarily carry out. You can even have your point cloud and you can stream it down into 3DR and mesh it there if you wanted to. So there's lots of capability, but I just want to say thank you very much for watching this short tour, and now we'll hand back to the webinar and we can just close out with a brief summary.